Hey. Okay. Hey. Hit that thumbs up for me. Hoo-ah. No notification. Sounds about right. Where's everyone at? Well, I burnt up a lot of notifications today, so it's just going to be word of mouth here for a minute. I do want there to be, hey Tambia, hey, thank you so much, sweetie, again, thank you very much, very helpful. I'm going to wait till we got a little audience in here. I'm going to ask all of you guys right now, I want to thank you beforehand for sharing and liking this video. I really need you to share this video in all of the Facebook groups. Anywhere they'll let you post a video about Summer Wells and that family, I need you to post this video. Hit that thumbs up. This is big time. It has to do with Candace's behavior on the body panel. Behavior panel, sorry. Sharing in mind. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Elaine, so much. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer here before I bust a big secret. I just can't hold on to it anymore. And I'll be quite honest with you. Sandman, please don't be upset with me, sir. It's time. It's just time to let this be known. So, although we really appreciate everything that Dr. Phil did, there's something he did not tell you. What he did tell you about was Cornbread Mafia. Now, spoiler for anybody that hadn't seen the Dr. Phil, right? Phil renders an opinion and he says, I don't believe you guys had anything to do with the abduction or the death of your daughter. But based upon Candace's reaction during the polygraph, or not the polygraph, they're human lie detectors, remember? I misspoke. Based upon her behavior when they asked her about the Cornbread Mafia, hoo-ah. Then we got some really, really good intel from Brad, 423 Chase. The Cornbread Mafia is a metaphoric term used in that neck of the woods to explain someone who has power. It's just like, I guess, everywhere else in the world where we say when someone has power and is hard to touch, we say they're the Illuminati, right? That doesn't actually make them part of the Illuminati, right? Because someone said so, right? I mean, there's, if you, depending on who you ask, there's some speculation about even if the Illuminati even exists. Then we had a real substantial issue in New York City, in Chicago, and parts of Detroit with the Irish mob, but moreover the Italian mob. And if you ask the FBI now, they'll say that there never was an Italian mob, right? When I say right, it always reminds me of CM when he says okay in between every word. Okay. Okay. Great minds, right? So, you saw that there was a situation. I'm gonna build this up. You know I am, right? You know how I do. Look at that. Candace, Don. Oh, wow. Look at that. I don't know what it is. Somebody look it up. Dallas, I think, a couple of years ago was the #2 skyline in the country. Oh, man. Coming in from the south, it goes way over there and it goes way over here. It's just absolutely beautiful. You can see right there on the Omni Hotel, they're supporting the SMU Mustangs right now. SMU, Southern Methodist University, is here in Dallas. So I just love this city. I always want to share it with folks that don't get a chance to see the big city, or, you know, like me, when I go to a state, yeah, I want to see the mountains and all that, but I also always want to go explore the culture of a new downtown metro area. There's that's the SMU Mustang. That's our new Omni. That's about 4 years old now. And then up there you got the old, you see it. Right now they're spinning, what are they spinning? Dallas Mavericks colors? No, not Dallas Mavericks colors. They spin something every day. A lot of times they match it with what the Omni's doing. It'll be the same color and the same, you know, so on and so forth. So we all know Candace is a rock, right? We all know Candace is just, you know, I mean, it's just like a 2x4 going through her back. She's just solid. Like Don doesn't run that family all on his own. He has a lot of help from Candace, right? If you were to look up what the estimated suggested, and this is a true thing, look up the estimated suggested projected value of a homemaker per year. It's $100,000 right off the bat. Now I don't know in regard, you know, I don't know the particulars in regards to, you know, is that $100,000 for one kid? But what it is it's the sheer number of hours and effort that a mother or you know, a father who's a homemaker puts in. This is to completely rebuild value in what the woman does if she stays at home, or the man does. Oh, Benny, you don't have a job. Well, guess what? I'm a stay-at-home dad when I'm not out here Ubering and hustling around and doing what I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so my services as a homemaker are roughly worth $100,000 a year. Moving on. That's to build the value up in Candace. For a lot of people that say, oh, Candace, she can't work or she doesn't do this. Well, let me tell you another thing about Candace. Candace was born in Corpus Christi, right? Corpus Christi, Texas. She stayed there for, I don't know, I didn't ask how much time. But when she was born, Candace was born with a hole in between her 4 ventricles of her heart. So she was immediately, upon notice of this condition, immediately sent to Minnesota, where she underwent whatever procedure or surgery it took to repair that, you know, that ailment, that defect. So Candace came into the world under struggle. She came into the world under strife. And you know what? None of our families are perfect. And some of our families are less perfect than our schoolmates or our neighbors. But guess what? You know what the preemptive word in dysfunctional family is? Ultimately, it's not dysfunctional. It's the word family. See, even a dysfunctional family still calls themselves a family, right? So, Candace, you know, a lot of it is based upon geographics, right? When you're in the rural parts of Wisconsin and Arkansas, you know, you're forced to deal with the people that are in close proximity to you, right? So, unfortunately, Candace, you know, she grew up under a lot of strife and penalty to her life. And now, let me step back. Have not any of us or all of us made a mistake when we're parenting? I'm not here to say Don and Candace made any mistake in regards to the disappearance of their daughter. I mean, I can't. Even if I wanted to tell you that they're bad people, I couldn't, because they passed the test. Am I here to judge Don about anything he did one day or 1 year or 1 decade before Summer went missing? No. Let me tell you, Don told me in the very beginning, we all 3 passed polygraphs. Don passed, Candace passed, and Grandma Candace passed. I refuse to call her Grandis because that's so fucking disrespectful. Her name is Candace. All right? So, what was strange, I thought, and lacking dynamic and depth and layers and levels, was the announcement of the Wells parents passing the polygraph, right? Meanwhile, forgetting quite conveniently that Grandma Candace has been run through the ringer as well. So they refused, and there's going to be some web sleuther or couch surfing detective that's going to say, well, they said they said the Wells parents passed, but they didn't say anything about Grandma Candace. I'm here to tell you, I know it from the horse's mouth. Grandma Candace passed too. In fact, Grandma Candace passed, and then was it's not that she was allowed to go wherever she went. She just went because she passed a polygraph. Is that not enough reasoning for you to understand why Grandma Candace was allowed to leave? Now we understand, right? Why she was able to leave, right? Look at this here. Tell me Dallas traffic ain't a real MFer, guys. Holy cow, look at this. That's our new Perot museum, Ross Perot Science Museum. It's badass, but you gotta have about $300 bills to take 2 kids there for about half a day. So, let me tell you really quick how strong the right side of this community is. And I ought not diminish what we all do because it was a combined effort. But let me tell you what happened. What it looked like happened was Phil and the behavioral panel people asked, and I'm really ashamed because this is going to make the whole context of what you saw on Dr. Phil's and what the behavioral panel, somebody share this with the behavioral panel, right? Because shame on them. This is really, it's bad, guys. But let me tell you what, it's way better than it could ever be bad. Because let me tell you what, the Wells, they'll take how bad that Dr. Phil looked. I just talked to both of them, right? I've been knowing about it for 6-7 weeks now. I haven't said a thing. I mentioned a whiff of it, but nobody caught on, and then it didn't gain traction, so I left it there because, Sandman was like, well, we don't want to talk about that right now, right? It's a beautiful thing, but it's just not the right time. And I trust him. I do, but I feel like this is the right time, Sandman. So what it looked like was that they split Don and Candace up. Initially, they spent a lot of time dealing with Don, right? Now, there was a moment in there where Don was answering for his wife, because that's typically the way that they interact, right? I just was on the phone with them. They do it all the time. If Candace finishes Don's sentences and Don finishes Candace's sentences, it's just the way it works. But when you saw it on the Dr. Phil show, you saw Dr. Phil snap at Don and say, hey, wait. I asked her the question. Let her answer. And so you had to have that little bit of yoking. He had to yoke in order to get control of the show and look authoritative, and all of that stuff, right? He had to make himself the king of his jungle. And I get it, right? So I didn't prefer that, and I've been sitting on that for a while. That's not the secret. Let me get to the secret. So when it comes to administering the same set of protocols and standards to Candace, wasn't nearly as in depth, was it? And so what happened? Put it in the chat. What happened? They talked about the Cornbread Mafia. And Candace walked off after crying. That was in episode 1, right? And what happened? Episode 2 rolled on through. And they brought her back in, and they made yet more connotation towards the Cornbread Mafia. So, you guys want to know why Candace was crying? Huh? You want to know the way that it was edited, what actually happened? Do you want to know? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to know what actually happened. What's up, Keyboard Mafia? Gang, gang. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to know what happened there. You? You want to know? Yes. Okay. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now. It's a display of strength of what we're all doing here. That's what happened. They were getting ready to put Candace up on that body panel. Shame on those body panel people, because they were there when all of this transpired. So, Benny, to the secret. Holy cow, Benny. So all of our awareness that we raised, even us negative creators, all of our awareness, I need all of you guys to share this video in every single Facebook group that is talking greasy about anything, right? Let's just start knocking this stuff down one at a time, right? We're debunking, right? Big day of debunking, right? But Benny, what's the secret, Benny? Secret is, they're gonna be a bonus secret. I gotta give you the parting secret. Guess what? It's one of those situations where you're like, you know, it's like one of the situations where you're like, I got bad news and I got good news. What do you want first? Well, I got good news and I got great news. And I'm going to give you the good news first. All of our awareness that we've been raising helped a child. I can't give you the details on whether or not this child was abducted or this, that, or the third. But I will tell you this. While Candace was waiting to go on the behavior... you see that? First secret. Our awareness helped. Hold on. People are starting to listen. You're damn right they're listening. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. All right. So, what I do with my lighter? Hold on. You know I'm gonna build it up good. Oh shit! I lost my lighter, and I'm stuck in traffic. Shit, man. Fuck, man. Oh, here it is. We're saved. All right. So everybody wants to know. First secret, our awareness helped a kid. So, right before they go to put Candace on the behavioral panel, and again, Dr. Phil knew this, I knew this right after it happened. No mention of any of it, right? So right before Candace goes on the behavioral panel, they get a call from Georgia. People on the phone, from the phone call from Georgia, says, we think we found Summer. Right? Ooh-ah. The caller on the phone couldn't be worse timing for Don and Candace. Right? They're in the studio. Let me tell you what happened. They get the call. Call comes into Sandman. Sandman. I love you, brother. Sandman gets the call about Summer being found in Georgia. Can you imagine all of the feelings that must have been just rushing through Candace when she gets this news? Right? So, she's getting ready to go up on the behavioral panel. Sandman comes over and says, hey, they think they found Summer in Georgia. Right? So there's a delay. Right? There's a delay. Keep listening. So they delay while they're trying to figure out what's going on with this kid that looks like Summer from Georgia. They were able to, through some time, I don't know how much time elapsed, they called back Sandman and said, nope, it's not her. But the child and an adult that was with the child was taken into custody. No one knows what's going on with that child or the person. So let me tell you about the power of God while I got you here. The power of God had all of us banging heads together so that we could keep a little girl's face, however distorted we are personally, keep her face in the news. And we did that. And we did it well enough that someone in Georgia of all places, calls in and said, I think this is Summer. So let me tell you about what the Sandman was forced to go through. Kind of the same thing I was yesterday, right? I was the one that had to call Sandman and Don and say, hey man, they're all around the house. People are saying they're all around the house and there may be some remains in a pond. I had to make that call. And then for these people to have to rush to the YouTube, right? Find out that it's fake, right? Of course, Candace knew. She was there. She knew it was fake, right? She's letting all of you twist each other up, right? Okay, right, okay. So, call comes back in from Georgia, right? I'm assuming at this point, because they thought this little girl that had been identified with an adult was Summer Moon Utah Wells. So I'm assuming, I don't know this, I'm assuming it was law enforcement, or it was a law enforcement motivated call that came back to Sandman because, of course, Don and Candace, they're getting ready to go on the behavioral panel, right? And make the behavioral panel look real good, right? They left out the part that the people from Georgia call back and they're like, hey, it's not Summer. I'm really sorry. But this child, there's a status with this child as well. And that's where the power of God came in, is that there was a child that was not the child we're searching for, but nonetheless a child that there was a situation around. And guess what? Someone who had been following this case online was coupled together with God and a little girl and an adult in a situation that probably mirrored ours so much that the little girl looked like Summers. It was a God thing, right? It was like, let's give it to them and then let's take it away. But let's make it good for somebody else. Hoo-ah. There's 220 people in here, man. I see 42 likes. So let me tell you something. All these new revelations that come from Benny in terms of the family and debunking things and things that are happening to me, not the things that happen to me, but the things that are happening with the family, right? I'm able to come up with too many raw truth things to not be considered effective. How come somebody else that's close to the family isn't coming out with this story? Right? You want to know why? Because nobody's a linguistic giant like me. When I was told the story 6-7 weeks ago, I thought, how am I ever going to keep this a secret? But I did. I kept it a secret. Let me tell you what I didn't keep a secret, though. The fact that they passed the test. So bittersweet today, right? Watching all these different people swing back around, new faces. I can't believe all these new faces just found me today and haven't heard anything bad about me. I know a lot of these new faces, they didn't necessarily have to be over anywhere saying anything bad about me, but here we come. So that lets me know we're all listening. We're all harmonizing in the same key. I mean, let me tell you, I know a lot of people may be listening to this and just bawling. Bawl good tears. We found a kid that was marginalized and on the fringe. Pay attention. So, you can completely see the different Candaces before the insertion of the knowledge. Candace was there. She was very sociable. She was courteous and she was receptive to courtesy, right? The things that make a first interaction good, right? Those are kind of the things, right? Courtesy, respect, reciprocation of courtesy, all the things that make it, a cultured environment to have a very serious talk, right? So, what I'm most disappointed about is that there was no context. I believe that they could have made the show even that much more triumphant had they say, listen, during the filming of all of this, a little girl was found. And in her life was a situation that we can't talk about, but that person that was with her and that child been taken into custody. And give it a little context. Give Candace the love she deserves. She's lost 4 children in the span of 2 weeks. And here we are getting ready to make her a fucking star. All over the world. And then you ask a honky ass, cracker ass, hillbilly ass question about the fucking cornbread mafia. Meanwhile, let me tell you, this woman and this man were just told their daughter may have been found. And then some moments later told it's not her, actually. Can you find some solace in that somewhere? Gosh, guess what? If you did not have Jesus fully immersed in your heart, there's no way that you could ever plan to accept the burden that, God, can you imagine being told your daughter's been found in Georgia potentially? And then moments later, I mean, you're in the moment of your life, your child's missing. You're looking at Dr. Phil's bald, shiny mug, and you're looking at Hartley's shiny mug, and all the rest of them. So, she had just been delivered potentially the best news she has ever had, followed directly with the worst news she has ever had. If you didn't have Jesus all the way in your core, do you believe that it would be possible to rejoice in the fact that it wasn't your child that was found, but nonetheless a child was found, and it was all a collision of the perfection of Jesus Christ? Wow. Now sit back and you listen to all of that, and you try to convince me that God isn't in this thing. Boy, take it somewhere else, man, because I don't want to hear it. God has been in this thing, right? Let me tell you what. None of us may have liked the way the diamond looks before it's fully transformed. After it's had all, it doesn't matter what kind of shithole a piece of coal, a lump of coal, is sitting in. It could be the most disgusting thing you could ever imagine, like the remains of a dinosaur, a dinosaur's butthole. And as soon as it goes through the correct amount of pressure, guess what? You've got something everybody wants and desires and loves and cherishes. And guess what? Men are tricked into saving 3 months worth of work paychecks to buy one. Don't you know that the truth is much like that same lump of coal sitting in the shit? The wells are that lump of coal. Ooh-ah. I looked a man in his eye and said, man, Don, did you pass that fucking test? I said, I passed that test. I says to Candace, sister, did you pass that fucking test? She says, brother, I passed that fucking test. Put Bex out. Brother, I passed that fucking test. That was right after they took him. I said, I believe you. And I believed them. I believed them for 4 whole months. Never wavering one time. Always believing and keeping it as the next round loaded in my machine gun. And just couldn't wait for the proof, right? I knew because Don told me. He said, and I quote, I passed that test. I said, okay. Then I'm riding on that. I'm riding on the fact that if you pass the test, we're golden. I'm riding on that. All right? So, that's kind of, that's it. That's a story. It's a story completely enveloped in truth, because it is that. It is the truth. It's a pretty intricate story for me to tell all on my own, right? Somebody would have had to have told me these things all the way back to Corpus Christi and the hole between the 4 ventricles. Don't you know, as bad as Candace's life may seem to you, it's been filled with blessings. You try living very long with a hole between your ventricles. Ain't happening. So, I ask you to ask yourself to just slow down a little bit. slow down. Don't be so quick to point a finger. Don't be so quick to persecute someone with no evidence. Don't be so quick to call someone a liar while you've still got the flame on your tongue. Don't point out a twig in someone else's eye when you have a log jammed in yours. Don't do it. Because you know what happens when some of you are colossally, epically incorrect? What happens is that newfound anger of being wrong because your own picker, your own judgment, and your capacities aren't what you put everything you own into. Your beliefs are everything. And if you believe that they didn't pass the test, you've had a rude awakening. So what happens when you have that rude awakening of a I told you so depth is you get people that are now more vicious than they were before. Why are they more vicious, Benny? Well, because they were hateful and full of spite and malice before, but now they've got spite, malice, and embarrassment. You know, embarrassment is kinfolk to shame, right? Right? Shame's such a bad thing, right? Let me tell you what. It's also kinfolk to humility. Humility is what? Humility is what God wants us to have every day. Humility, right? It's game 101. This is game that I shouldn't even be giving away for free. If it wasn't to detriment of Don and Candace and the boys in summer, I would have just kept this a secret and let y'all keep on. These people are important to me. I've cried with these people. I've cried over these people. I've cried about these people. I fight for these people. I suffer for these people. Why? Because this is a misjustice like you'll never see. Let me tell you what. Let me put it into a little more perspective. A lot of people are coming over from the Gabby Petito case. Guess what? A piece of Brian's skull and some brain matter and some teeth, that ain't gonna tell you no story about what happened. There is no story. It's over. It's done with. It's finito. It's no mas. It's arrivederci, right? So people came over with that, with a particular hunger and a particular thirst. Because let me tell you what, you can live for a long time. They say 30 days without putting sustenance in your body. They say you can't last very much longer than 48 hours of water. So what I'm seeing is I'm diagnosing a lot of people. I'm diagnosing hundreds of thousands of people and hungry for something more. More isn't always the best next thing for us. To a cocaine addict, more is detrimental. To an alcoholic, more is terrible. Right? In the right scenario, more is more, right? But then in this kind of scenario, less is more, right? You see how these people act? It's been an exercise the past few days. The past few days, you've seen me dox a few people. They don't like that, do they? How do you think Don and Candace feel every time somebody posts a video of their fucking house? Hit that thumbs up, man. How many times have their house and their children and the gag order and all of it be broken? Hundreds of thousands of times. There's hundreds of thousands of videos about this little girl and this family. And so Benny goes ahead and he puts a creator who hides behind a moniker, who tears up families in real life. Benny puts their information on the line like they do my friends, the Wells, and I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, huh? Well, I'll be the fucking bad guy. Take a look at the bad guy, because you'll never see another bad guy like this. You won't. You won't see another thug. Did any of you look up what thug life meant? Google thug life. A lot of people say, oh, Benny's a thug. He's a bully. He's a gangster. Guess what? Nobody ever said all of this shit was going to come free or easy. Sometimes you got to push people around. Sometimes you got to do shit to get people from around you. What would you do to get the devil's energy from around you? Anything. You do anything. What else would you do? Everything. You would go completely to a level of disparity to remain above water. Right? This family is drowning, and it's taking everything they have to stay above water. And guess what? It's only when you're drowning and get your head above water does the real fight start. But let me tell you what, you've wasted all of your strength and your energy and your confidence and your stamina and your oxygen, right? You wasted all of it to get to the surface, and now you don't have enough left in the tank to remain above water. So what does that tell you? That tells you that whole fight to get to the surface just to remain above water, it means that was it was all for nothing. That's what that means. Why even convince yourself while you're drowning to swim to the surface if you know before you go drowning that once you get to the surface, that's when the war starts? You might be better and once over for accepting your fate. They say drowning is actual. Right? That's the dichotomy of the world, right? Right? Nobody wants to be burned alive or drowned, right? Yeah, I mean, come to find out, after you burn for very long, you don't feel anything, right? Come to find out, drowning is peaceful, they say, right? Thug life is a term that Tupac coined that explained the community and circumstances he grew up in. He used it to prove that he was a victim of circumstance and product of his thuggish environment. It also means, and moreover than all of that, means what? Making something out of nothing. Right? Yep. Making something out of nothing. Amen. We're not going to bash Doug anymore. We're not going to bash Doug. We're not going to bash Smiley. We're not going to bash, anybody. We don't have to. Don and Candace are innocent. What's the secret? Well, John, I would tell you to close the chat out and go ahead and just watch the video, sir. Right? Right? Okay. So, doesn't that kind of change the perspective? Does anyone ever just come out and said, oh my gosh, Benny is just a stone cold liar. Like, he can talk to the Wells and get the right information. He just keeps coming on here lying. I promise you, no one will refute this. No one will refute this. At all. At all. So where do we go from here? They passed the test. Benny's explained why. Candace was emotional. Like, if you've just been told she's been found and then immediately after that told it's not her, and then you got some dumbass who says he's trying to help you, ask you about a fucking honky ass, cornbread ass, hillbilly ass mafia. Man, what the hell? I'd cry. I wanted to cry for her when I found out what actually happened. So let me drop the punchline. This is the punchline. Punchline is behavior panel made the wrong diagnosis. Right? Phil used Candace crying about what she had just heard and then needed to unhear immediately but couldn't, used that to provide what in my opinion, was a false trail narrative for her emotion. See, he never told you this had just happened, but he did tell you and make a big deal about the cornbread honky ass mafia, right? And he used the fact that she cried about the call from Georgia, used it and let's just say monetized, exploited it, like she was crying because of the cornbread mafia. Phil, that's just fucking despicable. I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm crying, and I ain't shed a tear one, nor will I. I put this on every single thing that I love. This came from 3 different people that were there the day it happened. And let me tell you what the Sandman had to do. This was just bad for everybody. The Sandman went over with the phone and got on his knees in front of Don and Candace. He got on his bended knee to tell these people in the middle of a production of a show, it's not your daughter. How long do you think you would need to process that before going on a TV show? Months, maybe? How about a few minutes? How about hear that and then in a few minutes go on hot, we're recording, right? And ask you some silly fucking cracker ass question. Some real just fucking blazing Caucasian, oh man, it's just the worst white privilege type shit. Like, Black America, help us. Guess what? African Americans live in our country too, and they don't have the abduction problems that us cracker ass, honky ass that we have. Who? They have them, but not like us. Not like us. And there's a lot of different people in this country. A lot of people say, oh, Benny, well, it's mainly only Caucasians in the country. Yeah, well, I mean by per capita. Okay, for those that are smart-tongued, per capita. Right? African Americans in America, because you could be an African American in Europe, right? African Americans in Africa, in America, pardon me, per capita, they don't lose their kids like white people. Why? Why in the hell can't white folks hold on to their fucking kids? And let me tell you what, when a black kid goes missing, do you see an online black community come over and fucking tear the family apart? No. You'll see an online African American community come and just wrap their arms around families that deal with these issues. Hispanic families, it's the same thing. I mean, it's only really in prison that a white man has a problem with a white man because he's a white man. Black men don't have problems with black men in prison because they're a black man. They got problems with them because they've got issues with rival gangs and the politics of prison. White people just hate white people and every other color for no fucking reason. You know what the real exhilarating and entertaining part about little Caucasian kids that go missing? We also get to cover them and mutilate them all over our media. Because guess what? White media, white Western civilized media, they don't want to talk about missing African American or ethnic children. They don't. You want to know how many African American women were killed by their spouse, husband, mate, whatever? The months and weeks leading up to Gabby Petito? Oh, man. If I were to denounce America, would you be surprised? It's only in America that we bash victims. It's only in America that we call it the Vietnam War. Everywhere else in the international community, they call it the American War. Oh boy. Holy shit. We're so fucked up over here. We're fucked up. Guess what? In other countries, they don't have time to sit on here and do this bullshit. You want to know why? Because they're struggling to fucking live. They're struggling with their hands in the dirt trying to make something pop. Guess what? Asian folks, you ever seen an Asian person? I'm going to stereotype some Asians really quick, but in the best way you'll ever understand it. You ever seen a homeless Asian person all strung out on what Americans put in their arms and up their noses? Fuck no, you don't. Asian folks come here to get money. You ever seen a whole lot of Middle Eastern people in America? There is. You ever seen them on the street? You don't. Why's that? Well, because they come from little or nothing in the Middle East, and they come to America to get money, and they do it. And they keep themselves off the street. You ever seen a whole lot of homeless Hispanic people? You'll see some. But even their people, they're so work-oriented, they have such a work ethic that they will work like crazy to get here, to work like crazy to send it home. And still have enough to maintain their lifestyle in America and a whole family back in Mexico. See, that's not what we do in America. No. You know what we do in America? Our people die and we fight over the fucking, there's one Rolex, 8 kids. Everybody gets a piece. And if they don't get a big enough piece, they're going to fuck each other up. Oh, boy. That's America, people. Only in America will you see a beautiful, precious little girl like Summer and not, and her go missing, and you not like something about the way it looks or sounds or tastes or smells. And so the best thing you can do is you go right to Don and Candace. Why is not, I mean, I know statistics, right? We're at day 156. Day 156. And so now, Phil, I want to say this to you, and I'm going to close because I'm almost where I need to go. Phil, I want to say this. You exploited my friends during your sweeps week and your 20th anniversary. Phil, you only get one 20th anniversary, right? 21st is not even as special as the 20th. So you're in sweeps week or whatever we are here. We're heading into sweeps week. You made this family wait 6 weeks, right? For all this great, great, great awareness, and it is great. Man, we couldn't have got this shit in the beginning, man. We couldn't have got a live show so it went out right now. And so all the great resource you had and we all knew you were going to come up with, instead, it stopped being a fucking resource and it turned into a TV show because you made us wait 6 weeks to get it. Guess what? It's 6 weeks less helpful. 6 weeks less helpful. I can't, man. It's all about how you look on TV. These YouTubers, they want to look good on TV. They exploit children and build fancy fucking sets and get fancy microphones and are scared to come here and scream the truth in a car with the lights on. Amen. Amen. You know, my mother, she always told me, she said I was always predisposed. She said, my mother said I'm her melancholy baby. I've always just been a little bit sad my whole life. And then when I'm a lot sad, holy cow, right? I'm my mom's melancholy baby. I'm also the most trusting of my mom's children, my mom's sons. My mom has 3 boys. I'm the oldest. My mom said my whole life I was always trying to give away what I had. I don't even remember that, but I see that I'm kind of like that now. As a man, I'd be willing to throw away it all to help somebody, and I just don't have the damn sense to say, hey, you're standing in front of me, you need my help, but I'm just gonna put myself first. It's impossible for me to do that. As much as I try, and as much as I promise to my wife, I can't tell the person standing in front of me no. Right? Why do you think Benny's got to be such a monster? Why is Benny such a monster when someone's on the bad side of Benny? You've gone way over the line. I don't have a problem saying no, but I will always have a problem saying no to someone that I perceive needs my help. To a fault, to my own detriment will I do this. Guess what? I can't change it. I'm in a war with myself trying to change this. I want to not care anymore. I want to be able to just leave Don and Candace and Sandman and the whole works. Leave it alone. I just can't. I can't. So I got to find a way to fit in. Because guess what? Being the guy that's closest to the victims and tries to speak the most peace, they're torturing me to death. These people are torturing me to death. And guess what? They don't want me to be here and be an advocate for justice. They just want me gone. You just want me gone. Why? You answer that, and you've answered the $64,000 question. Remember, guys, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. They tell you don't believe everything that you see and only half of what you read. Believe nothing here. Believe nothing here.